Most Valuable Player, Joel Embiid.
I came back early with the risk of losing my vision.
If you're a Sixers fan, this is probably the last video you want to see, but it might be the one you need to hear, because right now, Joel Embiid, the former MVP, the franchise cornerstone, and one of the most physically dominant big men of his generation,
There's an expression that says life is not fair. Well, there needs to be another one.
is showing signs that his best days might already be behind him. And when you start putting the numbers, the injuries, the on-court changes, and the massive contract together, the picture gets even more troubling. Let's break down exactly what's going on with Embiid, why it's happening, and what it means for the future of the 76ers. The clearest sign that something is wrong with Joel Embiid isn't in the box score, it's in how he's playing. And if you've been watching him night to night, you can feel it. The burst isn't there, the physicality isn't there, the comfort with contact isn't there, and the level of dominance he once played with feels like a memory more than a present reality. This season has exposed a decline in Embiid's game that doesn't come with a simple, quick solution. His efficiency has fallen sharply from the level he reached during his MVP campaign, when he was one of the most dominant scorers in basketball. Back then, Embiid carved teams up with a blend of high-percentage mid-range shots, deep post positioning, brute force finishes at the rim, and constant trips to the free throw line. He imposed his will physically, night after night. That's no longer happening, and it's not just a slump. It's a shift in how he's able to play. This year, he looks hesitant, slower, less explosive, and more reliant on skill-based shots instead of physical dominance. That's not just a slump. That's the sign of a body that isn't right. And you don't need advanced analytics to see it. You just need one shocking stat. Joel Embiid has not recorded a single dunk this season. Not one. For a 7-footer who once lived above the rim, that's more than surprising. It's alarming. Dunks aren't just highlight plays. They're indicators. They represent explosion, confidence, and a willingness to embrace contact. Right now, Embiid doesn't have any of the three, and it's affecting the situations where he used to dominate most. Crunch time, mismatches, and post-ups. Look at what happened against the Lakers. Austin Reeves, 6'5", 200 pounds, switched onto Embiid late in the game. A couple of years ago, Embiid would have backed him down, buried him in the paint, and finished through him. But instead, Embiid settled for a fading turnaround jumper. And that wasn't an isolated moment. It was the perfect snapshot of where he is physically. A player who no longer trusts his body to absorb contact, elevate, and finish. It was flat out difficult to watch, and they were right. Because it showed a superstar who wasn't just avoiding contact, but he was avoiding the player he used to be. To understand why Embiid looks like this, you have to look at the history. And the history is brutal. He played 58 games over the past 2 seasons combined. This year, he's only played 9 of the Sixers' first 23 games. He's not playing back-to-backs. He's limited to 25 minutes per game, and despite his confidence in interviews, it's clear he's nowhere near 100%. After the loss to the Lakers, Embiid spoke about his struggles and his mindset. He said he still feels confident in himself, even if the results aren't there yet. That's admirable, but it doesn't change the reality. Confidence can't make a recovering body healthy. Confidence can't compensate for an explosion that isn't there. And the Sixers know this. His minute restriction, his missed games, and his removal from back-to-backs all signal the same thing. This is a superstar who is no longer able to consistently do superstar things. When Embiid was at his peak, he was arguably the most dominant two-way center of the past decade. He could steamroll defenders, punish switches, collapse defenses, and physically tilt the floor in Philadelphia's favor. This season, he slipped into a more perimeter-based, finesse-oriented role out of necessity. He's avoiding contact. He's not getting to the rim. He's bailing out the defense with mid-range jumpers earlier in the shot clock. And he's no longer anchoring the team with the same defensive presence. That all adds up. You can see it in the eye test. You can see it in the metrics. You can see it in the results. This version of Joel Embiid is playing like a superstar who knows his body is fragile and is trying to protect himself. If this decline were happening on a normal contract, it would be concerning, but this is where things get truly franchise-altering. Joel Embiid's max veteran extension hasn't even kicked in yet.
Well, they like the different looks. They like Tyrese coming off sometimes.
And when it does, his salary numbers explode. Starting in 2026 to 27, he is owed $59.5 million, then $64.3 million, and then a player option of $69.1 million for the 2028 to 29 season. That's nearly $189 million over 3 seasons, and it takes him into his mid-30s, the age where big men historically break down even faster. This is the same Embiid who has played 9 games this season, 58 games over the last 2 seasons combined, and has suffered injuries almost every single year of his career. The question isn't whether Embiid is worth it right now. The real question is, what happens when Embiid is making $65 to $70 million per year, and he's even less durable than he is today? All that points to the team maybe already feeling regret over handing him this max extension, and the season hasn't even reached January. This isn't just a bad contract waiting to happen. This could become one of the biggest financial anchor contracts in the NBA. The frustrating, painful truth is this: his best days may be gone. It doesn't mean Embiid is washed. It doesn't mean he can't still be very good. It doesn't mean he isn't skilled, intelligent, or capable of big scoring nights.
You would tell you, and I respect him. I think he's been.
But if we're talking about the MVP version, the dominant version, the physically overwhelming version, that player looks gone. Not because he forgot how to play, not because he doesn't care, not because he's regressed mentally, but because his body simply will not allow him to play like that anymore. You can see it in how he moves. You can see it in how he avoids contact. You can see it in the limited time on the floor, in the missed games. You can see it in the Sixers' cautious management of him. And you can see it in the way he's playing smaller than he really is. When a superstar center stops dunking, when he avoids mismatches, when he settles instead of attacking, when he's only playing 25 minutes per game, and when his injury history keeps getting longer. Those are signs of a player in decline. Joel Embiid is one of the most talented big men of his generation. He revived basketball in Philadelphia. He brought the franchise back to relevance. He delivered an MVP season. He gave the Sixers some of their best years since Allen Iverson.
Double comes.
But greatness doesn't last forever. And sometimes it doesn't decline gradually. Sometimes it falls sharply. And right now, that's what this looks like. Another part of Embiid's struggle that isn't getting talked about enough is the way the modern NBA has shifted away from the style that once allowed him to dominate. The league has never been faster, more spaced out, or more perimeter driven, and Embiid's body simply hasn't kept up. When he was at his peak, he could overpower defenders in the half court, dictate tempo, and grind down opponents possession after possession. But now, with more teams running 5-out sets, pushing in transition, and forcing bigs to defend in space, Embiid looks a step slower. It's not just that he's recovering from injuries, it's that the game is more demanding on his body than ever before. And when you combine that with his limited availability, it becomes harder to ignore the possibility that the NBA around him is evolving faster than he can physically adapt. For Embiid, these next few seasons may define how his career is remembered. And for the 76ers, they may determine the future of the franchise. If Embiid can get healthy and return to form, the Sixers still have a chance to build something. But if this is what he is now, and what he'll be going forward, Philadelphia might be facing a difficult truth. Their championship window might have closed before it ever truly opened. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any future uploads. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.